All right. This is the very first episode of the Local Business Takeover. And my name is John. I own Kingdom Marketing Lab. We provide you with all your marketing needs as far as QR codes, building a following, anything social media, we got you covered. And our specialty is basically interviewing local businesses and entrepreneurs and kind of just really showcasing them and really getting their name out there, because we all know local business is the backbone of our economy. So today I got Darson Grantham. He's a local entrepreneur that has a few businesses, a husband and father. So I just want to say welcome, Darson, to the episode today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I love what you're doing, and just creating community around local businesses. It goes a long ways.
Yeah, absolutely. So are you originally from here in Des Moines?
I'm not originally from here in Des Moines. I'm from a small town, Southwest Iowa.
Southwest Iowa?
Yep. Came up to Des Moines for college and never left.
Ah, nice. What'd you go to college for?
Just a business degree, a local small college, AIB.
Oh, nice. Okay. All right. So you're an entrepreneurial guy. What do you think sparked the entrepreneurial bug in you?
I love that question because I listen to a lot of podcasts, watch a lot of YouTube, and it's a very common question. And there's definitely not an answer for it for one, like just unanimously. It's per each person. For me, it was down deep at the very beginning. I can remember, selling lemonades, doing lemonade stands, selling sunflower seeds, just buying something for less and selling it for more. And
sure.
I did it a lot. I did it as a kid growing up. I had a lawn mowing business. I did that, providing a value to someone and getting paid for it, and figuring out what the difference is, and that's what you make.
Sure.
Yeah, my mom was a beautician, so she had her own business, and it might have had an influence, but man, I don't remember a trigger getting pulled or anything. I just knew I like the arbitrage of buying something for less and selling for more.
So what I'm hearing is it's basically in your DNA.
It's got to be of some capacity. I just think that you can learn it. Don't get me wrong. It's not easy to learn, but you can learn the process of how to do it. Mm-hmm. But if you were doing it in high school or elementary, sixth grade, I can easily remember trying to sell trading cards. That was something we did all the time. So in some capacity, it's in me or a person.
Right. Yeah, I can totally vibe with that too. When I was growing up, I really didn't know anybody that was in or had a business in general. And then my grandma, I used to go down to Florida every summer, and she had her own cleaning business. And she always used to tell me, she was like, don't work for somebody, find something you like to do and learn how to make money from it. I was like, okay. And I just seen her hustle. And I'm like, man, I want to be my own boss. I want to make the money that like she's doing, So that's what sparked it in me. And then it kind of just snowballed from there. And then I got to be a like personal development junkie. I love me some personal development. And that just really just sparked my DNA almost. Just knowing that I have the power to control my own destiny is huge.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where it started for me. Let me ask you this. Who are some mentors or some like books or philosophies that you live by?
That's so I'd say mentors lightly, like Gary Vaynerchuk is a big one. The very first book that I read or listened to on audiobook that like really spun my head into thinking like you have the power to do anything was Darren Hardy's Compound Effects.
Yeah.
It just, I can remember just listening to it. And I'm like, okay, so I have the decision. I have the choice to be good or be great or be okay. And there's you pick it. It's up to you. So that was from the very beginning. But I think it's wrong to follow anyone wholeheartedly of just like this person does everything right, follow everything that they do. I just don't believe that's a philosophy that anyone should follow.
Sure. Okay. Well, I can definitely agree with you. I love me some Darren Hardy. Especially Gary Vaynerchuk. I love that guy. He just speaks the truth and it just resonates. Right.
Yeah. And his what I love about him individually is he seems to care, whether it's true or not. I don't know him personally, but he wants to give more than he takes. And like someone that is that way, like I just want to surround myself with that content, that knowledge and philosophy. So
Sure.
hope it rubs off.
Yeah, no kidding. Okay, so back in 2016, you started a company called the Mosquito Eliminators, and that uses green products, which means there's no chemicals or like it's used to eliminate mosquitoes in the yard. Is that
Yep.
How did you come up with that idea?
Yeah, I listened to a lot of podcasts, and it was a marketing podcast by someone from down in South Carolina in 16. And they had a company and they sprayed mosquitoes, and they were talking about how they marketed that company. And that was the year of the Zika virus, if you remember that.
Yep.
And it was how they, made a really killer marketing copy, right? And I was like, okay, that's interesting. I Googled, because I just sat out with my wife on the patio and we got ate by mosquitoes. And I was like, is there anyone in Des Moines that does that? So I looked it up and I couldn't find anyone. I could Google search it and nothing. And I was like, well, how hard could it be to start a pest control company? So I kind of looked into it, and I think startup cost was like $800, and then I had to take a test. And at that point I was like, well, the worst that could happen is I get my own yard sprayed and I don't have any mosquitoes. And the best case is like I get paid a little bit to have a part-time job doing this. And so that's where it started. And it gave me, at the time I had a W-2 job where I didn't get to really do fun creative marketing stuff. And so that gave me the outlet to go home from my W-2 and actually put time and energy into a business where I could directly impact the outcome of my paycheck.
I love it. So you found it, you found something you needed, you Googled it, it wasn't there. So you had the wherewithal to go start it yourself and do something on your own. That's fantastic to me. I love it.
Yeah, it's fun. I look back and like it was naive of me to think that I could grow the business really big with the time that I had of my life to put into it. Because I didn't have that much time. I just was able to, just spend the little time that I had growing a little business. And and then the green side of it, there still isn't very many companies, pest control companies, that do things in a green way. My family and I are very holistic, if you will, and like the chemicals, the bad stuff you put in your bodies are around us. I think that there's a way to get around that, and it doesn't work as good as true chemicals do. Like it won't kill the mosquitoes for as long, but it still works pretty good. And the price point is pretty similar. It's probably even less than a lot of the bigger companies charge, but it's good.
How long does it last? Yeah,
14 to 21 days is how long it'll last.
So basically you need it around once a month or so?
A little bit more than once a month. Yep.
Okay.
So the way the mosquitoes work is their life cycle is anywhere from from egg to adult in 7 to 28 days. So if you think about it, the more adults that you have, the more eggs that they're laying. So you can kill the adults, and then the eggs that hatched in that time that you killed the adults, if you kill them quickly before they lay a bunch of eggs, it's almost exponentially bringing down the possibility of bad mosquitoes.
Right.
So if you do like up front, you want to do it pretty quick, every 2 weeks for maybe 2 or 3, and then you could do it monthly and probably be okay. But again, the name is misleading. It is the Mosquito Eliminators, and we eliminate mosquitoes, but not all of them. Like you just can't get all of them.
Sure.
So, yeah.
Huh. Well, that's awesome. I've never heard of anything like that, especially green. And I totally agree with you on, there's not very many companies that do the green idea, and I just think that's fantastic. And I think there's a huge market for that, for what's going on, especially green nowadays. Yeah. So, and then you have another company, which is my personal favorite, which is Bounce DM. And can you tell me a little bit about what this one is? This one's exciting.
Yeah, it's easiest to explain with a picture, because it was probably 3 years ago, everyone saw the Facebook video that was going around where you playing bubble soccer in this inflatable bubble and you run people over and they get back up and they're not hurt. And that's what it is. I have 32 inflatable bubble balls is what we call them. Yep. And we rent those out for parties of, post-prom, bachelor, family reunions, bachelorette. So
at bachelorette parties, they put this bubble on and they just go and just hit each other. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah. Yep. You run each other over just like football. Usually play some type of soccer or, tag of some capacity, but yeah, they'll get in there. You don't last very long in them. It's a workout. So, people last, 3 to 5 minutes and then they move on to the next and let the next group through. So
it seems like this is a way to almost like social distance too. It's like you have a bubble wrapped around you and you're kind of just, it's like social distancing almost, isn't it?
It's definitely not. I appreciate you trying.
Right.
I'm real honest. It's definitely not, because when you get out of the bubble, someone else gets in the bubble. So
I got you.
You're basically breathing in this piece of plastic, and the next person, you could wash it, and we do, but the odds that something is missed is unlikely. So it's definitely not social distancing. Yeah.
Okay, so I got a question. So between your two businesses you have now, and we all know what's going on, the pandemic, how has that interfered with your two businesses, or has it?
Yeah, polar opposites. So the Mosquito Eliminators did really well this year. And I would guess one of the reasons is a lot of people were spending more time in their backyards and not, out at public events. So May came around and I marketed pretty heavy to that mentality of, hey, if you're going to spend time in your backyard with your kids, this year is likely the year you're going to do it the most. Like, pay some extra and make sure you're not bit by all the mosquitoes.
Sure.
It's done really well. And then the bubble balls are the exact opposite. I went from $20K gross revenue last year, 2019, to $500 this year. I had one event scheduled during the August month of the summertime, and we did it outside. So, yeah.
Wow. Yeah. See, and I'm seeing that problem with a lot of businesses too. It's just like this pandemic is really just taking a toll on them for sure.
Yeah.
And okay, well, that's awesome. And then the average, so with this Bounce DM, is this a franchise or is this something that you came up with on your own?
Yeah. First, I appreciate you thinking it's a franchise. If you checked out my website, that means it looks decent.
Sure.
But no, it's not a franchise. There is 2 or 3 franchise companies that you can buy their franchise fee and do all that. And I actually looked at it both with this business and the Mosquito business. And I'm just one of those, I'm kind of a cheap ass. Sorry for cussing. I'm kind of cheap.
Good.
And I'm like, you know what? I can do what they're doing as a franchise myself. It's not going to be my full-time job. That drastically decreases the barrier to entry. And so I kind of, add it all up. I did interviews with franchises on both businesses to just see what they do, what the good and the bad is, what their risk is. But yeah, it's not a franchise.
That's awesome. Again, you found a need, you took control of it. That's fantastic to me. My hat comes off to you, buddy. So recently you decided to become a realtor. What's your history with real estate and what made you decide to become a real estate agent?
Yeah. So up until spring of this year, I've had side businesses as an entrepreneur, but I've always had a W-2 job.
Sure.
One of them early on, my first 8 years was in insurance sales. And so it was a W-2 job, but it was very much entrepreneurial like. And I was let go of that one in 2016. And at that point, it was very out of the blue. And I was like, you know what? I don't want that possibility ever to happen again. It was we had good savings. My wife and I are very, very smart with our finances. We have reserves set up, follow the Dave Ramsey plan back in the day. So we were good, but it just pissed me off, to be quite frank. And my entrepreneurial side was like, okay, how can I fix this? And so I didn't have a business at that point that I could just go full-fledged and pay the family bills. So I got another W-2 job. At that time, I said, I told my wife, hey, Sarah, we're going to spend as a family $4,000 every month. Anything above that, we're buying rental properties with and creating a type of passive income. And so I did that, and we have 14 doors in 3 years. And then March of this year, I lost my W-2 job. At that point, I was like, okay, I know this real estate stuff very well. I've bought 5-6 houses without a realtor because I wasn't real happy with the, I don't want to say service level, just the lack of help, I guess, that I was, I could find deals myself. I could hire an attorney myself. So I bought all my deals without a realtor. And I look back and I laugh because now I'm a realtor and I'm like, well, I get paid off people that use realtors, but every one of those deals, the seller could have backed out and I would have been SOL, every single one of them, because I did things wrong. So it's kind of like, I took that chance. And so I encourage everyone. I mean, as a realtor, yes, it's smarter financially. It's less risky to use a realtor. But if you find a deal off market that's not listed, that doesn't have a sign in the yard, I mean, you could save a little bit of money. You're risking to lose the deal though, because you're likely doing something wrong, or the seller is.
Yeah. So is there any trends you're seeing right now in the housing market right now?
So I love the housing market trend question, because when you're a realtor, everyone asks you, what's the market? Well, it depends. Are you buying? Are you selling? Are you renting? Or are you investing? Right? Each of them have a completely different trend. But generally, people ask about just the market. So the general answer is it's really good. If you're wanting to sell, your house priced right is going to sell very quickly. There has been a noticeable change over the last couple months, the winter months, of people not wanting to buy and close in the middle of January, February. So it's slowed down a little bit. But if your house is priced right, there's buyers just waiting in line to buy houses.
Okay. And what do you believe that can set you apart from other real estate agents out there?
Right now it's easy because you deal with me, and I'm working my butt off. I'm the one that is in the trenches of transactions and communications with you from beginning to end. To do that long term as a realtor, it's really hard to grow a business and do that. So I mean, that's one of the things that there's an advantage to working with an individual agent that isn't on a team that has a bunch of people. The downside is if I go dark tomorrow, my clients are SOL, right? They don't know who to talk to. So I mean, there's pros and cons. I work a lot with people that are buying rental properties or selling rental properties. I know those markets really well, what they rent for, what the prices are going for. I have a list of buyers that want to buy them because Des Moines is shown to be a very strong market post-COVID. I think it's one of the top 10 post-COVID expected markets in the nation. So I mean, people are coming to Des Moines. People are buying in Des Moines. Rentals are going really hitting the market and going off market pretty fast.
Okay, so would you say it's like a 50-50 shot between if it's a seller's market or a buyer's market?
It's for sure more of a seller's market.
It is?
Yep. So last year this time there was 3,800 houses for sale across the whole metro. I think the whole like new development, condos, resales, all across. And right now there's only 2,400. Wow. So you're not quite at 50%, but close of number of houses on the market compared to last year at the same time.
So let me ask you this. I've noticed as I've been looking at houses their price point is a lot higher than what I've seen before. Why do you think that is?
Couple things. The sellers know that they have a commodity that buyers want. So it's just a price, it's a law of what is it? Economics, right? You have fewer things on the market, they're going to be priced higher. That's just how it works. The other thing is interest rates. There's no question that low interest rates are making things priced higher because a buyer's their payment previous, they can buy something, 25% more at the same monthly payment. So the actual price that they're buying at is kind of irrelevant to them. They just want to know, what is my monthly payment?
Sure.
Right. And when you have low interest rates, that's changes that factor. Just like if you had the other way, if you doubled interest rates, you'd be able to buy less house with the same monthly payment.
Right. Okay. Wow. Okay. And then, do you use social media for your clients? And if you do, how do you use it?
Yeah. So all the two businesses, so Mosquito Eliminators and the bubble balls, I have pages. I don't do a lot for the bubble balls. I haven't done any this year just because of the COVID. I'm not spending money on a dying horse right now. The Mosquito Eliminators, I spend money between April and June, a lot of money on advertising, Google AdWords, Facebook ads, because that's usually when people will sign up for a mosquito eliminating product or service. You usually don't sign up in July or August. It's just not how it works.
Right.
So that's how I've used it. Then on the realtor side, a lot of the marketplaces, the Facebook groups, you post houses for sale, any listings you put in for sale in those groups, and you can see how many people see it. And that goes a long ways for the sellers to show, your house is listed on the MLS, the multiple listing service, which is what everyone sees on Zillow or whatever. But you're also getting out in the Facebook marketplace world, which is just a different set of eyes, a different algorithm of people that get to see your product.
Right. Awesome. All right. And then, have you had any challenges when it comes to using technology for your marketing?
Yeah. Everything's a challenge, just because you always want to try to get better.
Sure.
My personal, with the realtor business, on my individual marketing, my name and my skills and me as a realtor, I've struggled a little bit with the content and the scheduling of what I should send out and how I should send it out. Should I use my personal page? Should I use my business page? I do a lot on Facebook stories on my personal page, because I haven't, so far, just being in the business for 6 months, I haven't done a fantastic job of telling the inner people that actually already know, like, and trust me, my friends.
Right.
I haven't told them directly that I'm a realtor. I haven't sent out any mailers. So that has brought some business of just people knowing, hey, Darson's a realtor. I've had two careers in the past that has not been a realtor. So for them to just know that, that's helped. But Facebook stories, it's fun. So I walk through a lot of really crappy houses because I work with investors that are going to buy them, put money into them, and flip them and sell them. And so I walk through a lot of just really ugly, disgusting houses. And it's kind of entertaining. It's almost like the YouTube channels that they, what do they call them? Reaction videos, right?
Yeah.
Where someone watches a show and you're just literally just watching them react. It's kind of like that when you walk into a house that smells so bad you can probably smell it through the video. And, so that's been fun on the stories.
Wow. All right. So let me ask you this. What are some words of advice or maybe do's and don'ts that you would pass on to other entrepreneurs looking to dive into the real estate world?
Both real estate and any entrepreneurial venture, limit your front end spend. So your possible loss, try to limit that as much as possible. Almost any business can be started for under $1,000. Like, of some capacity, any business can be started that way. So I don't recommend anyone quitting a W-2 job or something where they're paying bills with an income source that they're paying bills with to start something entrepreneurial. If you haven't already done it part-time in the twilight hours or the early morning hours, you should always use those hours to make sure that that's a business that you really like to do.
I gotcha. Okay. Well, this is the conclusion, but so for all you guys out there watching, if you need your yard sprayed, get those mosquitoes out of there, call Darson. He'll hook you up. You want to have your kids run out of energy pretty quickly? He has another business called Bounce DM. I'm telling you, it'll get them tired and ready for bed. He got your housing needs covered, whatever you need. He'll have you covered too. He comes with compassion. I know there's a lot of real estate agents out there that are just out there for the paycheck. And that's, I mean, I've had that experience before too, and I felt it. But thank you so much, Darson, for coming on here and telling your story, letting everybody know about your local businesses and everything you're doing for the community. I really appreciate you hopping on here.
Yeah, likewise. I appreciate what you're doing on just all of your local marketing and just helping small businesses. Like you said, the backbone of our economy, there's no question that is local businesses. And in times like this, marketing and storytelling through marketing, it goes a long way. So thank you.
Awesome. All right. Well, we'll chat soon. I know that, but this is the end of the local business takeover with Darson Grantham. I hope you guys enjoyed, and we will be back with another video soon. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.